Action coming your way on the bank track between the Pioneers and the Jolters from Kezar Pavilion, Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. We have a jam underway right now in the first period. Rita Williams trying to get by Barbara Baker of the Jolters. Baker has blocks. Weston blocking Vallow. Vallow back into Baker. Rita Williams goes by and scores. Gets a whip from Weston, moving in the rest of the pack. Hit by Pam Kaniva. Vallow up there grabbing a hold also and wraps her into the rail. 2 points picked up in there by the Pioneers. Our first 2 points. This game coming away on the Pioneer Network, featuring the Pioneers and the Jolters from Kezar Pavilion, Golden Gate Park in the city of San Francisco. It's Walt Harris to call the action. The score off those 2 points, 7-2. The Jolters in the blue and the black lead the Pioneers in the red and the blue. Jerry Seltzer usually works with me, is not available. So I've asked Kenny Consulman to come up here, and you folks around the Chicago and the Midwest area know Kenny. He's always on the mic down there at trackside, telling you what's going on, who's moving out in the jam, taking the word from the referee on points and penalties and et cetera, right, Kenny?
Well, that's right, Walt. This is really a fired-up Pioneer club we have since Bud Atkinson Sr. has taken over as their team manager. I think you'll see a lot more teamwork and a together club.
Right now out on this jam is Candy Jones. A gal has really come to the fore, and she just put a block on Ortiz and put her down for the Jolters. So Candy Jones is moving by herself now, number 57. Candy Jones for the Pioneers, all by herself. They trail by 5 here. This is the first period of play. You'll see the first half this week. Some stations see the last half immediately. Some will not see it until next week, but you'll see the entire game. There's Jan Vallow, the one and only, number 8. Maybe the toughest gal on skates today, and maybe the greatest skater on the bank track today, unless this gal whipping Candy Jones is Joan Weston. That didn't work. The gal in the face mask doing the job, number 8, Jan Vallow. As tough as they come. Jones down again. Joan Weston says, come on, we'll try it again. Coming out of the turn, another whip picking up speed. There's the whip. Now, behind the back, and a bump in there by Weston did the job on Vallow, and a point for Candy Jones and the Pioneers. And Vallow goes to work on her. Wraps her into the rail. Baker in there also. Weston in there, the hip block. Another block in there. Now Weston being clobbered by Baker. Yes, Baker and Vallow make a tough team on this Jolter club. A great move by Weston. She started to whip on the outside, then went to the inside and threw a little hip block at the same time into Vallow to help pave the way for that point. So the Pioneers now have 3 and the Jolters have 7. This is a wild, tough Jolter club. Their men's team is size and strength. They're really loaded. And when the Pioneers open their fall season, I imagine, Kenny, you're looking forward to that. Live action back in the Midwest. And the club they're going to face first will be this Jolter team.
That's right, Walt, and we understand, talking to Cal Stevens, that he's got a few surprises in store. He says he's got a good defensive unit, but he wants to make another couple of additions to the club before they open in the East, and I think that's going to be in the offensive jamming department.
Otherwise, I think Cal Stevens doesn't need any surprises. If you're as big as he is, as strong as he is, as good as he is, you can get out there and play a game by yourself.
Like I said, I don't see how they could improve themselves on the defensive side.
Here we go on the jam. Each team, one jammer out of the play. That's Marcia Gibbs, number 3, battling with number 51, Terry Lewis. And Terry Lewis wins that battle for the Pioneers. So she's now moving in the pack as they are trying to come back from a 7-0 score. They've made it 7-3. We have 2:50 to go in the first period. Terry Lewis is up there in scoring position. Van Kaniva with the pivot up on number 5. Jan Vallow back on the track out of the penalty box, and Barbara Baker also. Jolter started this jam with just 3 players. Cam Kaniva blocking. Weston back there blocking now on Gibbs of the Jolter team, who's trying to move in there for scores. And outside, Lewis almost getting around Kaniva. She does for a point as Weston puts Kaniva on the deck. And it's 1 point for the Pioneers, and Vallow and Weston still squaring off up there. Weston got away from Vallow's block. Buddy Ackles, Sr. right there on the track. He called a penalty on Weston, Ken. He called that pretty quick, because that last block was so close to the end of that 60-second mark. Usually they don't call it.
Well, sometimes the referees will lean a little heavier on a veteran skater than they will on one of the newer members of a club. They figure if you've been around 10 or 15 years, you should be close on your timing too.
Ken, do you ever argue with a referee when he comes over and says, so-and-so got 2 points and you don't think he did?
I argue. I've argued for 15 years. I don't think I've won one yet.
So here we go. 7-4 is now the score. Pioneers getting them one at a time, but getting back in the game here. Vallow clobbered by Weston when the play started. Weston did draw a penalty, just warning him, evidently. Both clubs at full strength. Jammers are moving out. Rose Duran, a rough, tough Jolter, not too big, but she's a good one for the Jolters. Chasing her, Rita Williams, number 50 for the Pioneers. Williams is blocked on Rose Duran. Hits her again. She's got her going. Spins her along the rail. And moving out. Rita Williams by herself on the jam now for the Pioneers. That's the weight and tire skate. Now they're skating. If I tried that, I'd be on the track so fast, Ken, I wouldn't know what hit me. I think these skaters are so good sometimes they could take a tray along and eat their lunch off it, including soup, and still not spill a drop.
When you get the adrenaline flowing, you don't feel it right away. Sometimes it's 30 seconds later that you start to hurt.
So Rita Williams in scoring position. Rose Duran, she got away from Rose for 1 point. Ballo now with the block. Along with Kaniva, they're working on Rita Williams. Weston back to trying to pull her teammate through. Over the top from Duran, they're down in a heap, and Williams going to get 2 more. He's going to try for more. Ballo missed the block into the rail. Baker now with a block on Rita Williams. Rides into the well. Weston with a block on Baker, but Williams did not get by. Weston down. Still no danger of their team being past for points. It's the Jolters picking up. Rita Williams cuts it off. Baker slants her into the rail. Throws the right hand that didn't quite connect. That ties it up in there. Big play. Rita Williams, Pioneers, Joan Weston. 7-7. And Rose Duran draws a penalty there for a little extra activity after the jam had ended. Rita Williams did a fine job in that play, Ken.
Well, Rita is really one of the big success stories for the Pioneers this year. If she was scoring at the beginning of the 73 season, the rate she's picking up points now, she'd be in the top 5 of scoring. She's really come a long way.
And that is the end of the first period of play with a score. The Pioneers 7 and the Jolters 7. Action continues here from Kezar Pavilion, Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. Walt Harris and Kenny Constable here at the mic. Second period getting underway. The men on the track. Let's count the skaters. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 Jolters out there and 5 Pioneers. Penalties drawn to the girls. At the end of that period, carry over to this period of play. So Jolters skating short-handed. Nick Scopus on the jam, 54. Not to challenge it. Number 4, Mike Moore for the Jolters. Scopus goes working more. Moore spins around, stays in his hits. Mike Moore is a youngster. Boy, he is coming fast. He's going to be a good one. Nick Scopus with the lead now. He is one of the good ones. 54, the wild man on the track, Nick Scopus. Ronnie Robinson back to the block, moving on Cal Stevens. He's got Stevens going. There goes Scopus with the point, and he cuts it off. And Ronnie Robinson, so to speak, draws first blood. Moving out the muscle man, Cal Stevens on the play, number 8. Ronnie Robinson is great out there, number 58. Bob Hine, the bald eagle out there. 57, 55 is Larry Smith. 56, Gary Lorenz. 54, Scopus. Cal Stevens, number 8 for the Jolters, a big man. Jojo Stafford, number 7. Charlie Gibson, number 5. And the Von Tiger, Jerry Cattell, number 9 out there. They're back to full strength for this jam. At 1 point gave the Pioneers lead 8-7. Jojo Stafford getting the whip from Cal Stevens. He's out on the jam, and out with him is number 3, Ted Tauscher, in pursuit. 51. Trying to move in there is Bill Hill. Now it's John Rice in pursuit, 59. Stafford sets himself, puts a block on Rice. Rice uses the rail and stays up, loses a little ground. Ted Tauscher, number 3. Jojo Stafford, number 7 on the jam for this big, physical Jolter team. Jerry Cattell back to the block with Ronnie Robinson right behind him. Robinson there keeping an eye on Ted Tauscher, number 3. Puts a block on him. Here comes Stafford. Robinson with a block on Stafford. Now it's Tauscher, Ronnie Robinson. The great. I told you he can do it out there. Here comes John Rice, grabs the lead on the jam. Moving now on Jerry Cattell. Flocko Robinson points to Rice and he cuts it off. Just like that, the Pioneers pick up a point. Jolters on a double-barrel threat, but it's a point picked up by the Pioneers, and Ronnie Robinson showing you why he can do it out there and why he's one of the greats on this bank track. And the Pioneers lead now 9-7. It was a fast, the 2 jams, Kenny. They're really moving out there.
Oh, Walt, on both of the last 2 jams, I think you see what Bud Atkinson said he was going to bring to this Pioneer club, and that is teamwork. He's got every man on the track with a job to do and a position, and it takes more than just a jammer, or even if it's a good jammer, to pick up the points. You need the blockers in the pack to set them up, and you need to prevent the other team from releasing their skaters.
Here we go on the jam. Charlie Gibson moving out. Another big man on this Jolter club, and Mike Moore's out with him. And in pursuit, it's Nick Scopus moving on Mike Moore. Gibson with a block in there. And Scopus down, but bounces up again. And they've got blocking over there. Stevens and Cattell blocking on Robinson, and a point for each jammer. 2 points for the Jolters on the play. Buddy Atkins Sr. out there to protect Ronnie Robinson. Shoving Cal Stevens away. I'll tell you this. I wouldn't have the courage to go out there and shove that Cal Stevens away from anybody, Ken, and Buddy Atkins Sr. did it. He's going to protect his skaters any way he can. And there's Hine getting it from Cal Stevens. Penalty on Big Cal. There he is. Strongest man on skates. Muscle man Cal Stevens. 9-9 is the score off those 2 points picked up in there by the Jolters. Stevens to the penalty box. Jerry Cattell puts on the pivot helmet, the blonde Tiger, number 9. Back is for him. Jammer starting to move out. Cattell with the block of Robinson. Jammers get out of there. It's Bill Hill, 51 for the Pioneers, and number 6, Robert Graves for the Jolters. Robinson and Cattell are going at it at the head of the pack. They're out in front of the pack. They're out in front of the pack. There are the Jammers. There they are. They broke off. Coming up in the pack is blocking by the Jolters. Graves scores as JoJo Stafford and Charlie Gibson teamed up with the blocking job on Bob Hine, and it's a point for the Jolters, and they lead now 11-10. They're starting to pick out a Pioneer on double teaming them at the rear of the pack. That works as long as you have the lead jammer, Kenny.
Yeah, there's a moment of embarrassment when you discover that you're setting yourself up for a point if you don't watch where your jammer is.
Right, you're double teaming a man, and their team, their jammer gets the lead. You don't know it, man. You're in trouble, and that can happen.
Well, there's always action all over the wall. You have to watch your own team, the other team, offense, defense. I think it's the only sport that has so much variations in it.
So here we go. Cal Stevens back on the track. Whipped out of there, and Charlie Gibson on the jam. Stevens way out in front to give a big whip. Bob Hine in pursuit. He's got the man off balance. Look out. And holding goal. Bob Hine is on the move. This man has lost 39 pounds. Last year, he's really gotten himself into rock-hard shape. After his injuries and his weight, the doctor said he'll never skate again with that weight. And after the injuries you've had, he showed me that they're wrong. He's back skating a great game. But right now, he's got the muscle man, Cal Stevens, and he's got no help there. Robinson can't get back there to give him any help. Cattell now. Look at these big men in the shoulder club. Cattell, Stevens, Stafford, Charlie Gibson. Robinson trying to get back there. Can't get back there. Trying again, Bob Hine. JoJo Stafford hits him. Robinson on the rail trying to fight his way back. Can't get back Cal Stevens. Scopus trying to get back there now. These men are just too big to get behind. Through. Stevens decking Hine. Waiting for him to get up. Hits him again. Hine down on the infield. Scopus getting back there now. Time runs out, and a shoulder in there by Stevens as Hine was up again, and Stevens saw a chance to get a shot done. Size of the, look at those two men on the rail there. Jerry Cattell, Cal Stevens. There's Cattell. 200 pounds, 6'2" or 3. Stevens 6'2" or 3, and 205, 10 pounds. A solid muscle. 215 in that neighborhood. JoJo Stafford, a big one. Charlie Gibson, a big one. He's young and a rookie, but man, he is a good one.
Well, Gibson is the kind of guy that always fools you. He looks like he's off stride, and he won't make the move on you, but he never goes down, and he's one of the big scorers for the Jolters also.
On the outside, John Rice, a good one for the Pioneers. He's the guy that gives it everything he's got. And JoJo Stafford takes off in pursuit now. These men moving around the track with 5 minutes to go in the second period of play, and it's the Jolters 11, the Pioneers 10. Rice looks over his shoulder, checks the progress of JoJo Stafford. Stafford with a kick in the back and an elbow to the front chest. And down goes John Rice. Stafford, a wise veteran out there. Jerry Cattell leading his charge now as they move on Ronnie Robinson, 58, and Nick Scopus, 54. There's the whip. Stafford into Scopus, can't get through. Cattell moving up again to signal something to JoJo. So let's do this or what. They're crisscrossing behind the blockers, and the blockers are crisscrossing with them. Watch it now. First one to make a mistake, to lose this battle. And Cattell loses it. He hits Stafford and takes him down. Both crossing back and forth. The blockers, Robinson and Scopus crossed with him. The first one went off strike, was going to lose, and that was Cattell, and he took down JoJo Stafford.
Well, there's another example of teamwork for the Pioneers paying off. These big guys, Stevens and Cattell, you're not going to stop them one-on-one. You've got to start double teaming, and the Jolters are doing it.
Don't forget to get a free copy, pardon me, Ken, get a free copy of the rules, or get on the mailing list, receive special advance information about games coming up in your area. Right, rules, mailing list, Post Office Box 1828, Oakland, California 94604. Be sure to include the city and station in which you watch these games every week. That's to get your free copy of the rules or to get on the mailing list. Here we go. Nick Scope is out on the jam and chasing him. Big Charlie Gibson for the Jolters. Don't forget, this is the club that opens against your Pioneers in the Midwest with their first series of games to start the fall season. Scopus block on Gibson. Gibson to the block on Scopus. Scopus goes down into that turn. That's Gibson moving on the pack now. Ronnie Robinson back to the block number 58. Bob Hine there, number 57, if he needs any help. Robinson doesn't usually need any help. So Hine will make sure no blocker gets back to give. Oh, Hine goes back, takes a shot at Gibson. They're going to trade off, and here comes Scopus. He wants it blocked on. Gibson down. Scopus has the lead in the jam now. Being blocked out. Scopus on the rail by Cal Stevens. Here comes Gibson with the lead. Robinson puts a block on him, slams him over the rail. Down he goes to the floor, lands on his skates, gets back in the track. Scopus moving, a whip from Robinson. Time runs out. He's hit with a block by Stevens. And that is it. Time runs out on the jam. No score on the play. It remains 11-10.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, I was going to mention, in spite of the fact that the Pioneers are taking a beating early here in this game, they're still leading on the scoreboard, and they get the points in bunches, and they're the kind of club that can explode, especially with the kind of guidance that Buddy Atkinson Sr. is trying to bring to it. They've got Larry Smith as a jammer, Johnny Rice, probably the most improved jammer in the entire league this past season, and of course Bob Hine, as light as he's been in almost 6 or 7 years.
39 pounds lighter.
A lot of work to get rid of that.
You let me know about that. He said, Walt, you tell him I lost 39 pounds and I'm proud of it. Actually no special diet either. He just quit eating the wrong kinds of food, I guess. No formula that we can give special credit to. Stafford out there. Ted Tauscher. Here comes Bob Hine looking for a little room. Through the middle he goes. Bald Eagle Bob Hine is on the loose here for the Pioneers. And JoJo Stafford. Stafford gaining ground. Stafford moving. There's Robinson, though, and he peels Stafford off the back of Bob Hine. Moving on Cattell now. There's the jump block and a point. And that is it. His jam is cut off by Bob Hine. Beautiful jump block by Robinson. And Cattell goes after him. Leans him over the rail. Starts pounding on the side of the head. Wrapping him in there. Dave Cannella, one of the officials, trying to get Cattell back, and he reaches over and lays another punch in there. Atkinson Sr. over there to help Robinson out.
We could see Atkinson in the middle of this before things are over.
Cattell is wrapped in the back of the head by Bob Hine and then leans on the rail as the referee looks at him like nothing had happened. You can't call a penalty on a man for what you think.
No, it's really hard for a referee. You can't have eyes in the back of your head, and you have the temptation when you know something has happened to go ahead and call a penalty on it, but you just can't do it unless you saw it.
12-10 is the score. And Jerry Cattell and Atkinson in a shoving match down there in front of the Jolter bench. Officials get over there.
I'd say Atkinson may not be on skates anymore, but he still lives that game, every play out there, and I think he hurts with every player, and he's right in the middle of everything that happens.
Bob Hine was caught. He drew a penalty. The Pioneers have 4 skaters out there. Larry Smith hasn't been up on. Of course, Jerry Cattell is in the penalty box. 12-10 is the score. The Pioneers lead the Jolters. 8 seconds left to go in this second period of play. Dope is out and moving, but doesn't have enough time. And that is the end of the second period of play with the score. The Pioneers 12 and the Jolters 10. Action coming your way from Kezar Pavilion, Golden Gate Park in the city of San Francisco. This is Walt Harris and Kenny Considine calling the action here. Pioneers and Jolters, 12-10 is the score. When the Pioneers open their homestand to start the 1973-74 season live in the Midwest, this is the team they're going to face first. They'll be facing the Bombers, Charlie O'Connell and company. They'll face the Chiefs, the Red Devils. And look out, here we go. Vito Ortiz grabbing the lead, number 7 here for the Jolters. Number 51 trying to stay with her on the play is Terry Lewis for the Pioneers. Lewis hammering a block into Ortiz. Each team minus 2 here, but they've gone into the last period here over this period of play. At the rear of the pack, Williams is down. Rose Duran tripped over her, rather deliberately. Jam was cut off by Rita Williams to protect her skater from being passed for a point, or by Terry Lewis. So no point scored on the jam. That shows you, look out, Duran being challenged by Joan Weston. She goes right down on the deck. That, Kenny, shows how clever some of these skaters are. Duran tripped, quote, unquote, over the fallen Pioneer skater, and boy, you know how she tripped over the skate in the back.
Well, there's a question mark, I think, about how hard she was trying to get out of the way, but how can a referee call something when the intent is something that only the individual that did it knows?
Joan Weston knows, and Rose Duran is making sure she stays out of her way.
Well, it's, when you're a skater, you don't have to be a referee. It's a little bit easier for you.
12-10 is the score here. The Pioneers lead the Jolters. We're in the third period. Some of you folks see the last half immediately. Some will see it next week. You'll see this complete game between the Pioneers and the Jolters. Out in the jam. Number 9 moving Pam Kaniva for Cale Byrne. For the Jolters, and taking over on her is Candy Jones, 57. I think Jones would win my vote as the most improved skater in the past year in the girls' field. Say that, she goes down. What'd I say? Said something wrong, Ken. I still stick by what I said.
Candy doesn't give up, though. She stays in there every play.
Cale Byrne moving in a pack. Number 9 for the Jolters. Joan Weston back there to block the Golden Girl for the Pioneers. Quite a gal, this one. Joan Weston blocking on Cale Byrne. Cale Byrne probably wishes she had lost that battle now with Candy Jones. Weston to the jump block in there. Byrne up again, and Weston again meets her. Jerry Cadell skating along the infield, keep an eye on the girl's action. Trying to help the girl out by yelling words of advice, but it's not doing any good in getting by Joan Weston. And that is it, as Joan Weston proved to be a stone wall back there for Cale Byrne. No score on the jam. It remains 12-10. The Pioneers lead the Jolters.
Well, we might mention that these Pioneer gals are hurting a little bit tonight. They've got 3 of their good players out. Sherry Eric is on the sidelines tonight. Of course, Sue Neibauer is out of action, and also Francine Cochou. They're all coming back to the club. They're out for various reasons, and the club will be back at full strength starting in the Midwest. We also probably for the first time can make the announcement publicly that the Pioneers are going to have some added strength. The big gal that skated last season with the Bombers, Debbie Cho, will be with the Pioneer Club. We learned that this afternoon. You're speechless.
A little shocked. Debbie Cho is a good one. She'll add a lot of strength to this team. Make a good backup for Joan Weston. There's a gal with a lot of courage. Right now in the jam, Rose Duran and Rita Williams working her over. Hammering her, hits her again, and down she goes. Rita Williams winning that battle. That'll play for the skate in the back. Rita Williams moving by herself now. There's no Jolter threat on the play. Having points here for several minutes now. It's been standing at 12-10. Rita Williams moving here for the Pioneers on the play. Rose Duran back there to block. Slim willowy gal, but a good one. And boy, hammering away in there, Rose Duran. Skate in there. Down goes Rita Williams. That was kind of a rough way to block in there. Officials warning for Duran, but no penalty. I said before, a warning don't cost you a thing. Ballo back there now. The Pioneers can't get anybody back there to help out. A block in there by Duran, who was skating backwards, and she's shoved down again by Ballo on top of Rita Williams until Buddy Atkinson Sr. gets in there between them.
Well, there's a good point of how to instill teamwork. Atkinson is right on top of his players, protecting them whenever he can, and when you know there's a man out there that feels like that, you produce a lot more.
Weston gets a shove over here from Ballo. Do you feel that's been true, Kenny, that the Pioneers have maybe had the greatest talent in the league but have just never been able to put it together?
I think so, Walt. I've watched them. I've worked with them the past 2 seasons, and they have some tremendous talent on the club, and particularly after watching Memorial Day at Shea Stadium, they just need to get it together.
Weston working on Ballo, slams her into the rail. Penalty on Weston. He really paid off Ballo for the rough treatment that Rita Williams got a play ago. Rose Duran making sure the referee calls Joan Weston off the track, and Weston skates in her direction. She turns away and gets out of this so fast she goes down. Here we go. Jam was cut off. Still 12-10. Seem to have a lid on the points here, Ken. Nobody seems to be able to score all of a sudden.
Well, Walt, as I said, the Pioneers are a deceptive club. It looks at times like they're losing, but they like to stay on top of that scoreboard, and sometimes it's a mistake, but you breathe easier when you're on top, and they work better when they're under pressure, I think.
Weston in the penalty box. 4 skaters out there for the Pioneers. Jolters have 5. And Ballow's going to jam. The jammer was Baker, then she whipped out Ballow. And so Ballow's on the move. Some people say she's the best on skates. She's going to get a chance to prove it now. Takes off her helmet, combs her hair, puts it back on. And Ballow's ready to go. A double block set up back there by Candy Jones. Candy Jones and her teammate on the play, Linda Johnson. Ballow right in the middle, fights her way through. If she pulled it, she's pulling. He will not be allowed any points. So she belts a skater for good measure. Here's a swing and another one. Goes after Candy Jones. And she leaves 4 Pioneers on the deck. I tell you, this gal is tough. And coming out in the middle after running into a left hook. And Weston chasing her now. You have 5 Pioneers on the deck. And an official tackles Weston. And Ballow was the other side and decks another Pioneer. And another one. Linda Johnson. Boy, this gal, I tell you, she is a wrecking gang out there. 1-woman wrecking gang.
Well, Walt, I believe she's picked up a 2-minute major penalty. This could be a place for the Pioneers to take advantage and get the momentum.
Don't forget, if you'd like to have a game scheduled in your area and it's for a non-political, non-profit aspect, in other words, for a charitable organization of some type, you have a gym at a high school or college or an arena that seats more than 2,500 people, write to bookings, Post Office Box 1827, Oakland, California 94604. Write that address down. And if you have something that meets those requirements, write to bookings. You'd be surprised the amount of mail that we have received that has resulted in games being skated in their towns.
Walt, I think the Pioneers particularly have gotten out into a lot of the territories in downstate Illinois, a lot of cities, of course, we haven't been in. So if you'd like to see the Pioneers in your own town, get to work on a project.
Here we go. Rose Duran on the jam, following her Rita Williams. Jolters have 4 skaters out there. Rita Williams slammed into the rail. They control the jam. This Rose Duran, she's not very big, but this gal is a tough one out there. She has been around the last year or so. She's certainly come into her own. Rose Duran, number 4. Joni Weston back there to block. But at least the Pioneers have no threat here, and yet they outnumber the Jolters 5-4. So this jam can hurt the Jolters, even if they don't score. Weston with another block on Duran. Weston again on Duran. Here comes a jammer. Moving in, Buddy Atkinson, you're waving her on, and she has the lead as Duran went down. But she cut off the jam before she was completely passed. The point was not allowed. That jammer was Terry Lewis.
Oh, Walt, I think she was thinking defense first. She was wanting to make sure that the Jolters didn't pick up a point in there.
Ortiz fighting with Baker to get away from Joni Weston's area out there a minute ago. When Weston comes after these gals, they just want to get out of there.
Weston is big. I think she could intimidate a lot of people.
Well, the 10 to score remains. It'll be like a baseball game. You don't have to repeat the score anymore, Ken. It doesn't change.
A lot of defensive work going on out here right now. But again, the Pioneers are a club that can explode.
Barbara Baker moves for the Jolters, and in pursuit, Candy Jones for the Pioneers. 2:25 to go in the third period of play in the first half. Don't forget, we'll have an interview at the end of the half. One of the Pioneers. Or one of the Jolters. We'll pick out a good one for you. Candy Jones. And Candy Jones wins that the battle as Baker hits the deck. Look at Cal Stevens here at the end of the half, the big muscle man. See what he thinks of this Pioneer club and his opening in the Midwest against his team. Jan Vallow blocking on Candy Jones, a big leg block up there, an elbow block in there. Jan Vallow. Big gun in this Jolter attack. Jones moving again. Vallow hard blocks in there, minute 40. Weston is on the move, on the jam. Joni Weston coming up fast. There's Vallow. Vallow doesn't know she's coming until too late, but they both go down in a heap. Vallow scrambling on the hands and knees to stay ahead, but Weston gets by her for a point. That's it. Time runs out, but there was a point scored in there by Joni Weston and the Pioneers to make it 13-10. They lead the Jolters by 3.
Well, Joni's a gal that can really do it all, and you're supposed to slow down somewhere along the line, but each season Weston seems to be getting stronger.
And you and I both remember here were several seasons ago, longer than we remember now, but Weston received a very badly broken leg. I think it was broken in 2 or 3 places. And they said she was through. She was out for a long time.
I think when you have the kind of determination that this gal does, you come back no matter what. Just go back a couple of seasons. She had a very serious problem with her shoulder, which would have stopped a lot of people, but not Joan Weston.
This will be the last jam in this period. 40 seconds left. Rose Duran again. Rita Williams behind her. Here we go. 34 seconds left in this jam because as soon as the period ends, the jam ends. That's not the rule at the end of the half. And Rita Williams really working on Rose Duran and grabbing. Rita Williams draws a penalty. Rita Williams, the infield. Duran is back in the pack, so there won't be any points scored here. 13-10 is the score. Linda Johnson moving, or pardon me, Harry Lewis. 2-1. That's it. No score in the play, and that's the end of the third period. With the score, the Pioneers 13 and the Jolters 10. Action is coming your way from Kezar Pavilion, Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. It's Walt Harris and Kenny Conselman calling the action. We're in the 4th period of play in the first half. 13-10, the Jolters trail the Pioneers. You people on the Pioneer Network, remember, this is the club that opens the home season for the Pioneers this year. The Jolters against your Pioneers. Out on the jam, Ted Tauscher moving number 3 for the Jolters, being pursued in there by Gary Lorenz, number 56 for the Pioneers. Though each team has a jammer out and moving on the play, the Pioneers are -1 skater. Penalty drawn at the end of that last jam. Rita Williams had some time to carry over into this period. Coming up on the puck now, there's Tauscher, Cal Stevens. Watching his teammate go by, and then he puts the block on Gary Lorenz. Favorite block, you get the elbow down low under the chin and then come in with an up block and you upend the man. 9 hit out of there by Stevens over the rail. And he's scoring in there. 2 Jolter points on the play. Big Cal Stevens leading the charge that time. 13 to... I thought he held up a finger for 2 points now. I looked at the scoreboard and they made it 11, but now they've changed it to 12. So it is 13-12. I'd like to thank the crew working these telecasts. Our director is George Lum. Our technical crew on camera, we have Don Jackson, Johnny Scroggs, Ernie Fields. Remote bus, we have Guy Welch, John Anderson, Don Jackson. Our director is Stanley Potter. Cal Stevens on the rail, hit there with the block. Here we go on the jam. 2 Jolters out there and 1 Pioneer. That Pioneer is John Rice, moving with the Charlie Gibson with the block on Rice. Mike Moore moves away as Gibson did the job out there. So much size in this Jolter club that they really can put on the blocks. Coming up on the back now, Mike Moore, number 4, Charlie Gibson, number 5. Ronnie Robinson there to block 58. You got to have somebody back there against 2 men. He's the man to have. Ronnie Robinson. Block on Mike Moore. Here comes John Rice in there with the block on Gibson. Rice moving up on the jam. Grabs with the block on Mike Moore. Puts it down. Out scrambles and Mike Moore is passed by John Rice, who's moving behind Ronnie Robinson, blocking now on Jerry Cattell. Pioneers have a chance to pick up points here. They pull him around the backside. 1 point in there by Rice, and Gibson slams his weight into him on the rail.
Well, there's another example of teamwork paying off. Johnny Rice is a tremendous jammer, but it took the assist of Ronnie Robinson to get in there for the points when they were needed.
Now it's 1 point in there for the Pioneers. They lead the Jolters now 14-12, 9:20 to go here in the first half. Don't forget, at the end of this half, we'll talk to Cal Stevens, a muscle man of the Pioneers. Muscle man, the biggest, strongest one in the league. He's out there blocking with Bob Hine, who's wearing the pivot helmet. Ronnie Robinson content to wear the blockers on right now. And Nick Scopus breaks away on the jam. And JoJo Stafford whipped out of there by Jerry Cattell in pursuit of Nick Scopus. Scopus 54, JoJo Stafford number 7 for the Jolters. Grabs the lead. In trouble at the rear of the pack. Hine, he's passed for the point. Cal Stevens blocking on Bob Hine. Stafford passed him with the point, cut off the jam before Scopus could go by Cal Stevens. Robinson up there with a few words with Cal Stevens. 14-13 is now the score. 1 point separating these two teams. Here's Hine, decked again by Stevens. Now he grabs Robinson, starts pouring in the punches. A knee in there by Stevens. Picture is taken down there at trackside while that was happening by a couple of gentlemen here from Ebony Magazine. Carrying a feature on this game. Robinson is down. The muscle man, Cal Stevens, arguing with Buddy Atkinson Sr. over there now. There's Buddy Sr., 52. He's older and he's smaller, but if it's to protect one of his skaters, I think Buddy will take him on.
I don't think I've ever seen Bud Atkinson back down from a situation, and he'll take Cal Stevens and Jerry Cattell on if he has to. As I said, that does an awful lot to boost your morale when you know that a man like that is your team leader.
So Jerry Cattell will put on the fifth helmet as soon as he gets one. They have to throw one from the infield. He gets rid of his blocker's helmet. Time Kneva throws the one. Here we go. 4 Jolters, 5 Pioneers, and there's going to be a Pioneer out of there first. Bill Hill, and then he whips out the ball. They go Bob Hine. And whipped out of there by Jerry Cattell is Ted Tauscher. Moving on Bob Hine. Veteran Bob Hine likes these situations. Bob Hine keeping an eye, staying right there with Tauscher. Alongside. Elbow in the back and over the rail he sends it. Hine knows just when to put the pressure on. So Bob Hine moving by himself for the Pioneers on this jam. They lead by 1. Jerry Cattell back to the block. The block on Hine. JoJo Stafford back there in case Cattell needs any help. Now Stafford takes over on Bob Hine. Now Gibson's going back there. And Cattell goes up with the block on Robinson, so he cannot get back to help out Bob Hine. They got Bob Hine in the middle. Here comes Cattell with a jump. Both skates almost in the face. He draws a penalty and a point, and Atkinson takes a swing at Cattell, and Robinson has Cattell. And Stevens has Robinson. Here we go. They're blasting Robinson. And Atkins Sr. tries to get in there, and Stevens goes after him. Smith gets in there. Buddy Atkins Sr. We got a Donnybrook down here in the Jolter territory. Cattell's on the bottom of it. Robinson on top of him.
Walt, I think it looks like the Jolters got the best of that, but it may be the biggest mistake they made of the night. This might get everybody fired up here. Atkinson is down on the floor right now, and I don't think that's going to sit well with Larry Smith, Ronnie Robinson, or anybody out there.
Look at the Jolter territory. All their chairs are down, their penalty boxes down, their jackets scattered all over, and helmets. Look at that Donnybrook right there in the Jolter territory. You hear everything the PA announcer had to say there, Ken?
I believe other than the initial penalty on Jerry Cattell, they've leveled team penalties on both benches for failure to control skaters. If you try and pick that apart and find out who should get penalties, you'd wind up with everybody in the penalty box.
15-13 is the score. The Pioneers lead this physical Jolter team. The Jolters have 3 skaters out there, and the Pioneers have 4. But the Jolters get the first man out, Ted Tauscher, chasing him, Nick Skopas. Here's the value of an infield coach. An infield coach now would tell Tauscher to cut this off while he has the lead. But he did not, and Skopas goes by. At the rear of the pack, Robinson in trouble. Cal Stevens working on him. Tauscher grabs the lead again on the jam and gets a point. He's moving behind Stevens, blocking on Smith. 2 more. De Lorenz, Stafford blocking. Atkinson Sr. chasing Cal Stevens. Atkinson is tripped up by one of the girls, I think, as he goes across in front of the Jolter bench. He's chasing Stevens. His team comes down here to protect him.
As I said, Walt, I think this is the kind of thing that can get the club together.
But the Jolters picked up 3 points there while they were trying to put it together. They lead 16-15 now. Don't forget, we received so many letters, and I've talked to some of the youngsters who, no matter what city I'm in, they come up and say, how can I learn to be a skater? Well, here's how. Just get that information. Put your name and address on a card or in a letter, and write to Roller Derby Training Center. Post Office Box 1827, Oakland, California 94604, and you'll get the information on the nearest training center. Currently one in Alameda, California. That's in Oakland, the Bay Area. San Francisco Bay Area, one in Chicago. And they're lining one up to Oakland on the East Coast.
We hope to have an announcement about that. Of course, Midwest fans already know where the amphitheater is, and Lou Donovan, a very excellent instructor.
Bill Hill being worked on by Charlie Gibson out there on the jam. Both clubs at full strength again. 16-15, the Jolters lead. Robinson working on Cattell at the rear of the pack. Really hammering away. The Jolters are the only jammer in scoring position. Charlie Gibson, number 5. He towers over Ronnie Robinson, who's no midget. A pull away here by the Pioneers. A pull away. Trying to skate out the remaining time, and Atkinson, you're waving him on with his towel in the infield. And they're going to make it work. They're pulling away. Gibson, the whip from Cattell. Hine and Robinson set up to protect the pull away. They take him out of there. That'll kill it, and the Pioneers make this pull away work. So the score remains 16-15. The Jolters lead by 1 with 3 minutes to go in this period.
There again is teamwork, Walt. It's awful hard to get all 5 skaters out of the pack at the same time. And of course, Buddy Atkinson has worked with these kids, and again, there are signals from Atkinson to Robinson and Hine out there at all times.
Oh, he'll get another jam underway here. The Jolters a little disgusted with that play. Cal Stevens really disgusted. He didn't like the way things ended up in that pull away. I think he figured Cattell, rather than whipping Gibson, should have gone into that pull away and tried to do some blocking. Oh, let's go. 4 Pioneers out there. Smith evidently drew penalties in the penalty box. That play ended. And Gibson's in there. Gibson-Smith tangle. Stafford out there on the jam, but he's going to let Tauscher go, and he's going to do the blocking of Gary Lorenz of the Pioneers. Joe Stafford. The hip block puts Lorenz into the rail, so the Pioneers once again have nobody out on this jam. They're going to explode, Ken. They're going to have to wait till the last half now. Scopus is moving on the jam for the Pioneers now. Scopus moving and moving fast. Tauscher hit. Goes down. Scopus has the lead now. Moving on Cal Stevens. Stevens with the block on Scopus. Another block by Stevens. Another block by Stevens. He grabs Scopus around the head, slams his head into the rail, and he draws a penalty. That'll be a point also. Scopus staggering off the rail. Tauscher trying to move by Robinson. Hit by the Robinson block. Here comes Scopus moving again. Tauscher put into the rail by Bob Hine. Stevens lobbers Scopus. Hine lobbers Tauscher. Stevens after Hine. Hine gets away. Let's see about points now. Stevens is still out there on the track, and I thought sure he drew a penalty on that play over there.
I think they just gave him a warning. They just gave him a warning on that.
Warnings don't cost you a thing, Ken.
I think Cal Stevens was counting on that.
So there was not a point then. It was not an illegal block because he did not draw a penalty. Score remains 16-15. That's the Jolters in front by 1. This will be the last jam here in the first half. 40 seconds left in the half, and there's 60 seconds left in the jam. And the Jolters have 2 men out, and it's Ronnie Robinson in pursuit with Bob Hine moving behind him. Double locks it up by Gibson and Mike Moore. Robinson takes them both down. Over the top goes Bob Hine, just like a hurdler, and away he goes. Well, like a long jumper, though. He comes down on both feet. So Stafford and Cattell blocking at the rear of the pack now. Here comes Bob Hine, and don't forget, Robinson's coming up behind him. He can also score. Hine moving out of this turn. He's going to make his challenge. He goes by him on the way. Robinson, 4 Pioneer points. Each man picking up 2. 4 Pioneer points, and that is the end of the half. That's the end of the half here with the score. The Pioneers 19 and the Jolters 16. With me, Cal Stevens, the head man of the Jolters, a man that came up, I think, faster in this game than almost anybody. From nowhere, he went into training school, and he came right out of it, and you took over in the track like you owned the place, Cal. Did you feel that confident when you came into bank track as a professional?
No, I didn't. I didn't ever think I'd make it, to be honest with you. But I stuck in there, and I had a lot of help from a lot of great people, and it's paying off now.
The fact that you're considered the strongest man on skates today, does that make you a special target out there? A guy said, man, if I can put that guy down once, I'm going to get get a feather in my hat?
Yeah, well, it's just like people with Charlie, you know, people want to, when you skate Charlie, that's your main man, you know, and when you get a reputation as being one of the strongest guys out there, one of the hardest to move, then that's the task for the other big guy on the team, is to move you, you know, that's his job.
You go around eating crow about it, huh?
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I do when I nail Charlie.
How about you, Cal? With your size and your strength, don't you just really hate to hit a little guy about 130 pounds when he's on the jam? Would you like to just pat him on the back?
Yeah, knock him right through the rail.
Yeah, I think so, Cal. Look, at this Pioneer Club is considered to have the best talent in the league. Do you feel that's correct?
Well, it's a strong team. It has a lot of great jammers on there. But I think I can handle it. My team is just as strong. I think I have to work with it a little bit, but I'm sure we can handle it, no problem.
Do you feel they have an advantage, the fact that they have an infield coach who can spot things during the game where you're out there and you're in action all the time, except for the time you're in the penalty box?
Yeah, well, that is an advantage because he could see what's happening. You know, like when you're in the pack, you're busy looking around in the pack, and with the old man in the infield, he can spot what's happening and, you know, tell Ronnie or Heinze or whatever, and they can react to it, where I don't have anybody to do that. I have to do it myself, you know.
Now, Cal, and your Pioneers are going to also open in the Midwest against, your Jolters against this Pioneer team. You're looking forward to that opening back there? You're going to try and spoil it for the Pioneers?
I'm going to try my best. I'm going in this time very confident because we have a while before we get there, and I'm going to work with the team very hard. And when we get there, we'll be just as strong or stronger than the Pioneers.
Well, was this one of your ambitions to put together a team that is so big and so strong, especially in your men's field? There's you, there's Charlie Gibson, there's JoJo Stafford. You have big men all over the place out there.
Yeah, that's one, but I want to try to get a little smaller guy on there, too. I need a little smaller guy for the speed. But other than that, I got everybody who I want.
Well, this Mike Moore is not too big, but he sure looks to me like he's coming along fast.
Oh, yeah, Mike is coming along real good. I'll give him a year or so, and he'll be great. And I'm working with him, too, also.
How about your women's field? Now, do you let Jan Valla just go out there and take charge? Because she's...
Oh, yeah, I don't even really say anything to Valla. She's such a great captain for the girls, and she's such a great skater. I have nothing to say to her. She handles the girls beautifully, I think.
Of course, a lot of fans are going to see the last half next week. Some will see immediately. Do you think you can come back in this last half and handle this Pioneer club?
Oh, I think we can. I'm confident of it.
Do you have any special plans in store for them in the last half with Bob Hine and Ronnie Robinson out there?
Wait and see.
Wait and see. Well, that's true. There's nothing else I can do about it, Cal. I know, thank you very much for talking with me, but I don't know whether I should wish you luck for your opening in the Midwest against the Pioneers, but we know it's going to be a tremendous series back there.
Wish me luck. Wish me luck. I'll need a little bit of it.
You need a little. Okay, Cal, thanks for talking with me.
Thank you, Walt.
Cal Stevens, strongest man in the league, and he's got a team that's big, rough, and physical. They're going to open the homestand back there against the Pioneers. The Pioneers will be opening their fall season shortly, and this is the first team they're going to face. They'll face all the great teams, though, throughout the 1973-74 season. Score here at halftime is 19-16. The Pioneers lead the Jolters. This is Walt Harris speaking from Kezar Pavilion, Golden Gate Park in San Francisco.